Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So day 10 is going to take us around the 12th of September. We'll be able to extend out beyond that instead of GFS and ECM ensembles, maybe around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video. For the next 4 weeks, that's going to take us pretty much to the end of the month. I shall get on with that for you very short. Just say that the first video release today was our 7 AM broadcast. We've also released a European Outlook, of course. Also on a Thursday, have our European Outlook. And we've got Terry Scully's autumn forecast coming up for you tonight. We released his September forecast last night. We've got his autumn forecast coming up for you tonight. So you'll find out what Terry is forecasting for this autumn a little bit later on. Please like, share, subscribe on all our videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We're going to put on around 30 subscribers now. That's all to get to 11.9k. So please give us a sub, and that's great. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And I hope you're having a lovely Thursday as well. Right, let's begin then, shall we, in the Atlantic. So this is the current situation from the National Hurricane Center. Let's go through these one by one. So Ida is virtually done with now. This is Ida, what's left of Ida up here in the extreme northeast corner of America. Remnants of Ida giving maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 998 millibars. That's just going to form an area of low pressure as it moves out into the Atlantic and sort of merges with other areas of low pressure in the North Atlantic. So Ida is pretty much gone. We have this yellow X down here. That's disturbance 1, and that's got a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours and a 20% chance in the next 5 days. I don't think we have to worry too much about that one. Not at the moment, anyway. And then we've got Hurricane Larry up here. So that disturbance area that we had over Africa a few days ago moved out into the tropical Atlantic, developed into Tropical Storm Larry, and has now powered up to Hurricane Larry. Category 1 hurricane at the moment, giving maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 987 millibars, moving quite quickly at 20 miles an hour west at 20 miles an hour. Clicking on Larry, you can see this is going to become a major hurricane. So at the moment, the position of Category 1, Hurricane Larry, is just there. It's going to power up through the weekend into a major hurricane moving in this direction. That's the forecast position for Larry within that area there by the time we get through to Tuesday. Up to that point, still, Larry is only in the ocean, not impacting any land area. The way this is moving, though, does look as though it might be going in that direction. So it looks like it might be going towards Bermuda to me. And possibly heading like in that direction again towards the eastern northeast part of America. So, I mean, up to Tuesday, certainly nowhere near America, so nothing for anybody on the east coast to worry about up to the middle of next week. But it just depends where it goes after that. You know, it might go in that direction, it might go in that direction. I suppose it could start going in that direction. So there's various possibilities, but the way it's sort of curving around like that does look as though it's going in that sort of direction, doesn't it? So certainly if you was in Bermuda, I think you would be watching quite closely what Larry is doing. I mean, it's a little bit too early for anywhere on the East Coast to be overly concerned, but we shall wait and see, you know, what happens with Larry. But certainly going to go to like a major hurricane. If we go to discussion and go to here, you can see this is actually getting quite close to Category 4 hurricane status. So in 96 hours, giving maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. Now, I think that gets it very, very close to Category 4 hurricane status, actually, with that. So yeah, you know, it looks like it's going to be a major storm, this. And although not at the moment forecast to impact any sort of land areas, I mean, needs to be kept a close eye on, I think. So we shall see how that all plays out and works itself out. But yeah, all eyes on Larry, I think, in the next few days. Right, coming back to home, this is how CT is falling. So this confirms that August, as I said yesterday, came out at 15.8. That's an anomaly, virtually bang on average. They've got 0.1 above average, but I would say it's like bang on average, really. 6.990 and below average, a cool of an average month set against 81 to 2010. For September, for the first day, at 14.4, which is actually half a degree below average. That's going to start moving upwards a lot, though, I think, as we get through weekend and into next week. I would not be surprised to see that going into the 16s, possibly even to the 17s sometime through the middle of next week. That's really going to get a boost through the first week of September. So already you've got to start thinking a little bit about a warmer than average month, I think. But for the first day, anyway, a little bit below average. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for Birmingham today. So still highlighting a change eventually, but for the time being still above average. So the red line is 30-year upper air temperature average. We're above average with the upper air temperatures at the moment. Of course, because it's so cloudy, it's been cloudy for days and days and days and days, with this high pressure that has been dragging in this northeasterly wind. So although the upper air temperature is above average, we haven't been realising the potential with that on the surface because it's been so cloudy, and that's been keeping the temperatures paid back by day. At night it's still been relatively warm actually, but by day with the cloud, then it's not been particularly warm, even though the upper air temperatures are quite warm. It's one of those situations that just highlights the fact that the upper air temperatures don't always tell you everything, and that's particularly so as you go through the autumn and into the winter. Now, if anything, the upper air temperatures are going to lift up through weekend and into the early part of next week. Actually becoming quite hot for a few days early next week. So that's why I think the CT is going to get a real boost next week. So that's, and I think we're going to realise the potential with that because we're going to change the wind direction. We'll lose this northeasterly wind. We'll set up much more of a southerly southeasterly wind. Will be a drier wind direction. We should break up a lot of the cloud and get much more in the way of sunshine. Now, if you go through the second week of September and into the middle of the month, clearly we still have this cooling trend. So after a warm sort of opening week to 10 days of September, cooling down through to the middle part of the month is a general trend. And it looks like getting more unsettled as well. So lots of dry weather to come over the next few days. But by the end of the first week of September, and particularly into the second week of September, looking quite unsettled with rainfall coming through. So turning cooler and more unsettled through the second week of September is basically the message from the GFS ensembles today. Right, let's go here, shall we? This is an ensemble graph for Birmingham for sea level pressure, mean sea level pressure. Again, I thought I'd just show you this. It highlights the change that we've got coming, I think, as we go through the second week of September. So this is where we're starting off at with pressure at the moment, 1,030 millibars, still very high pressure across the country. There's a gradual drop in pressure taking place through the first week to 10 days of September. Not particularly low pressure initially, but by the time we get through to sort of 10th of September, so 10 days into the month, clearly we have got significantly lower pressure then. Instead of being up at around 1,030 millibars, we're between sort of 1,020 and 1,010 millibars. When pressure lowers even further around the middle part of the month, it might actually go under 1,000 millibars then, going down to around sort of 990 millibars. So that would definitely be much more unsettled, of course, with low pressure in the ascendancy. Through to the third week of September, it's a very, very long way out. We might just be seeing a few indications of pressure starting to rise again. So any change to unsettled weather through the second week of September, particularly around the middle of the month, might be relatively short-lived. But of course, that's extended range. It's a long way out. And I think what we basically say is that the moment we're starting off with high pressure, we will gradually see a decline in the pressure over the first week, 10 days of September, and so by the middle of the month it could be actually rather unsettled. Temperature anomalies from the 2nd to 10th of September looking warmer than average. Precipitation anomalies from the 2nd, 10th of September, looking drier than average. Latest wind flow map from earthnorthschool.net shows that, surprise, surprise, we still have the high pressure from hell, really, sitting over the country, particularly just to our north, and so we're still pulling in these east to northeasterly winds, and so we just can't quite get rid of that northeasterly wind, bringing in all this cloud from off the North Sea. But there will be changes over the weekend, because that high pressure is going to move eastwards and will centre around this sort of area. As it does so, instead of a northeasterly, we'll start to pick up a southeasterly. It'll bring warmer air up from France, and it will also bring much drier air as well. It'll break up a lot of the cloud, and there should be more in way of sunshine developing over the weekend and into the early part of next week. That's the plan, anyway. So this is how the UK Met is looking for midnight on Sunday via the weather outlook. You can see the change, actually, can't you? So instead of the high pressure sitting over northern Scotland, the high pressure is sitting just to the east of Denmark. And so that he is changing the wind direction from that northeasterly into a south-southeasterly. That should be a drier and you know, for those of you fed up with like this endless cloud, that should be rather sunnier. So you should finally start to see some blue appearing in the sky over the weekend. Excuse me, we go through into Monday, and again high pressure sits to our east, drawing up this warm, potentially even quite hot southerly wind into the south. That carries on into Tuesday as well. This is looking like classic sort of early September, late summer, really warm weather conditions. It's very typical of early September. Very, very often, first week, 10 days in September delivers high temperatures and sunshine, and, you know, sometimes it can be like the hottest spell of the summer, actually, in the first week, 10 days of September. I don't think that'll be the case this time, because we did get some quite hot weather in July, but nevertheless, you know, this is all very typical of early September, drawing up these really warm or even quite hot southerly winds. Now, by Wednesday, pressure beginning to lower out to our west. Still very warm, too hot, very humid as well, probably by this point, with this southerly. And with the pressure lowering to our west, we could start to draw in some heavy showers and thunderstorms. And then this low pushes eastwards, that starts to cool things down. In the second half of next week, temperatures will lower, and we'll find showers and long spells of rain, possibly including thunderstorms pushing eastwards with that area of low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic. So it could be like a bit of a classic plume type situation. This is how midnight GFS run is looking again. The high pressure dominates the weather on Sunday I should say, but the pressure has gone eastwards. So the high pressure has gone eastwards, so we're drawing up this southerly southeasterly wind. That carries on into the early part of next week again. High pressure dominates the weather. The winds coming off the continent should allow more in way of sunshine to come through, and temperatures should be really quite warm as well. Wednesday, again, the high pressure is still there to our east, but it's weakening a little bit. Lower pressure is lowering to the south and to southwest. So for the second half of next week, yes, we begin to move low pressure in towards the UK. We start to cut off that very warm, hot, southerly, southeasterly. And we'll find some showers beginning to break out as well. Notice we've got Larry just here. That's Hurricane Larry moving into the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. And so the GFS midnight run actually turns quite unsettled as we move up towards day 10. So pressure again just lowers day by day. More showers break out. Longer spells of rain too. Temperatures begin to drop, fall away as well as we get through towards day 10. And in the extended range, very unsettled actually with the GFS midnight run, with low pressure regularly sort of powering in from off the Atlantic. That is Saturday, 18th of September as far as we go, and actually looking really quite unsettled at this point with 985 millibar area of low pressure to the west of Ireland. So the GFS is swinging back towards more unsettled weather through the middle part of September, in particular on the midnight run. This is how 6 days looking. Again, high pressure is in the ascendancy on Sunday. It's to our east. We're drawing in this warm or even quite hot southerly southeasterly. That carries on through the early part of next week. Then middle of next week starts to break. There's the upper air temperatures though for Wednesday. Look at that, plus 15 Celsius isotherm is into northern England. Not that far away, plus 20 Celsius isotherm. That's just northern parts of France. So this is a very, very warm air mass that's pushing northwards across west of Europe through the early part of next week. It is a proper, proper hot air mass. But it looks like by the middle of next week, low pressure is moving in off the Atlantic. That will push away the highest of temperatures, and we'll see showers breaking out as the upper air temperature starting to lower on Thursday. All goes rather slack as we go through up towards day 10 until we start to get this push of westerlies, courtesy of Larry. I think that's the remains of Larry just there on the GFS V2 south of Greenland. And that starts to introduce more of a westerly flow. Still quite warm though, but certainly a little bit more mobility starting to appear. Into the more extended range, I actually say it's really quite warm across England and Wales on the GFS V2, nowhere near as unsettled and autumnal as the midnight run was, but very gradually with time it looks as though we're trying to pull in cooler air from the north, so that's how the upper air temperatures line up by the very end of the GFS V2, which gets to the 18th of September. Autumn is in across Scotland at this point. Actually, Northern Scotland not all that far away, from -5 Celsius iceberg. But in the south, it's still quite warm. The warmth is just clinging on by its fingertips, but definitely, like into second half of September, autumn is knocking on the door well and truly and wants to start pushing southwards. Of course, in between those two air masses, we've got an active weather front that's bringing outbreaks of rain as well. So definitely a more unsettled flavour to weather on the 6th by the second half of September. But, first half of the month has a lot of warm weather there. This is how the GM is looking. If you enjoyed the video, then please give me a smash like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Thank you so much. Right, this is how the GM looks. Our high pressure is again to our east on Sunday. Low pressure to west. Up comes this very warm southerly southeast. That carries on into the early part next week. Absolutely classic early September warm weather. Second half next week, pressure lowers as this low comes in from the southwest, possibly bringing thunder with it, beginning to pull the temperature back down. We finish up with the GM looking like that. High pressure is developing out to the west of Scotland then. So that's a different solution again. We are pulling in cooler northerly winds though. And then the ECM looks like that. So Sunday, high pressure to our east, low pressure to the middle of the Atlantic. We're drawing up a southerly southeast. That carries on into the early part of next week as well. But high pressure actually centers a long way from us by Tuesday, sort of over the Ukraine. But the ridge is exerting itself all the way. The ridge from the centre of high, exerting itself all the way across Europe into the UK and to Ireland, and we're drawing up what could be quite a warm, rainy and hot southerly southeast wind. Middle to second half next week, again the idea is that a trough of low pressure begins to develop from the south and the west, turns into much more unsettled, could well involve thunder, might see thunderstorms breaking out through the second half of next week and begins to cool things down. And as we head up towards day 10, we're looking a lot cooler and a lot more unsettled with the ECM today. So this is for the 12th of September. Winds are actually in from the north, which again is a different solution compared to what we've seen with the GFS and the GEM, for example. But we're bringing in winds from the north and we're looking rather cool and certainly a lot cooler anyway, and showery by day 10. This will be precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from tometeo.com. So again, loads of dry weather to come over the next few days. We'll just start to see a few showers beginning to break out in the south, perhaps by the end of the weekend to the early part of next week. But do bring some wet weather into the north and west through the early part of next week. Scotland and Northern Ireland gets some rain. England and Wales mostly dry. And then the second half of next week again, or middle of next week again, we draw up those southerly southeast winds, so it will turn very warm for a time before showers begin to break out. Some of them could be quite heavy, may involve thunder by the end of next week, especially through central and eastern areas. And then, of course, we start to turn cooler as winds turn into the north. We get some rain. And yes, you're right, don't deceive you. That little green blob just there is actually the ECM midnight run forecasting some snow over the very, very tops of Scottish mountains by day 10 on the 12th of September. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 12th of September. We have 13 members from the Icelandic Metals, have 13 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to our east, still sending the ridge into the UK. So mainly dry and quite warm with that. 12, again, with high pressure to the east, sending the ridge into the UK, so that's still keeping wind from a very warm southerly southeast direction. 9, including the operation room, looking cooler and more unsettled with high pressure coming down western side of Europe by day 10. 8 down here with low pressure, quite deep low pressure actually, to our west and south. West, obviously, that is quite unsettled. 7 with high pressure to the north, that would bring in wind from the east, that's going to be drier and warmer. And then 2 have a big area of high pressure over Scandinavia with a deep low in the middle of the Atlantic. That's probably related to Hurricane Larry, I would have thought. So that is bringing up like a very warm southerly southeasterly. But below in the Atlantic, because it's so deep, would be threatening heavy rain, maybe thunder from the west. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. We get us to the 17th of September. 22 members of the ECM ensembles have low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. More mobility with that. Driest weather in the south, most unsettled weather in the north. Quite a bit cooler as well, with wind coming in off the Atlantic. 17 have low pressure over top of the country. Obviously, that's going to be a cool and unsettled scenario. And then 12 with high pressure sitting over just to the north. That's going to be bringing in an easterly wind. Should be mainly dry and warm with that. So 12 want to keep the dry and warm weather going into the second half of September. But the majority of ECM ensembles, a vast majority actually, 22 and 17, want to turn things cooler and more unsettled into the second half of the month. Finally, the CFS V2, these are 500 millibar heights, break it down into a weekly period. The first week period will take us from the 2nd to the 8th of September. The coming week will have high pressure just to our north, bringing in these warm southerly southeast winds. Lower pressure is across northern France, so could start to threaten some heavy showers into the south eventually, and especially late on in the period. All changed for week 2 and very different to what the CFS was showing just yesterday. This is the 9th to the 15th of September, now under low pressure across northern and western Europe. Again, just highlighting the way CFS is swinging from one day to another between sort of high pressure and low pressure scenarios, indicative of the uncertainty that you always get in September. Today's idea for the second week of September is low pressure, so obviously much cooler and much more unsettled. Week 3 is the 16th to 22nd of September, also looking quite unsettled across Western Europe with this week as well, especially the rain would be focused on the south with that. And then week 4 rounds it off. It's another unsettled week, 23rd, 29th of September, with low pressure just out to our west, and in come those westerly winds. All the time does have high pressure up towards Scandinavia around Svalbard. But for us on this particular CFS run today, it's looking a lot more unsettled and consequently would be cooler and significantly wetter. But only yesterday the CFS was forecasting like nearly 4 weeks of high pressure domination, really. So just swinging wildly from day to day, and we'll see what the CFS has up its sleeve when we do GMA Friday tomorrow, of course. I don't think at the moment we really want to look beyond sort of the middle to second half of next week, when we might bring in that thundery trough. I think that's as far as we can look with any sort of conviction at the moment. Right, so if you enjoyed the video, please can you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for doing that. If you do subscribe, you will see future weather content. Tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. If everybody who subs brings a friend, we're going to get to our ultimate target of 12k subscribers so much more quickly. And drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Right, we've done our 10 to 14 day event. We're not doing the content for today, though, because we've got today's goal is autumn forecast coming up for you. This seems to be around 7ish, I would have thought. Tomorrow, I'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow. So we're going to start off with our 7 AM forecast. I think we'll release the ECM 6 weeks look ahead tomorrow as well as GMA Friday and a 10 to 14 days. So 4 videos again for you tomorrow. Do keep checking back to the channel for more. But Terry's goal is autumn forecast is going to be released for you this evening at 7. For this 10 to 14 day, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.